Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
So, some dumb guy here, bringing you episode 9 of SumDumWatch for the week of November 25th through December 1st, and where I'm going to run through all of the movies and television, whatever I watched from my library, as well as any theatrical viewings that happen to apply. And spoiler alert for this week, there are none. Was not able to make it to the theater, unfortunately, for this week. Let's just say a bunch of nonsense that I have zero interest in watching dominated every auditorium in all of my local theaters, and there just was no way I was having any of it. So we had to pass and stick strictly to home entertainment, which is fine because I've got plenty of it. So we're going to dive right on in with first a Blu-ray featured in one of my recent unboxing videos. Have not seen this since it was relatively new in, let's see, 1993 or 4, I'm guessing. 93 being this came out. It is In the Line of Fire, starring Mr. Eastwood himself, Rene Russo, and John Malkovich. Rene Russo, always looking absolutely lovely. I think she was probably the actual main reason I watched this movie originally. Clint Eastwood, at least back in the day when my teenage years, wasn't on my radar as far as that goes. He was there, he was fine, cool. Didn't come to appreciate that man until I was well into my adult years. After having revisited this one, this is a great movie. Eastwood, always solid. Rene Russo, wish she had a slightly bigger role in it, but she was great. John Malkovich, always awesome. Forgive me, I've got a little bit of tickle in my throat tonight. But the way these two characters play off each other, essentially all over the phone interactions, which is great. Just love this one. This is a really great movie. I'm actually kind of surprised that we're still stuck on such an old release for this one. It is a Columbia picture, so it's owned by Sony. This has the old school, old style Blu-ray aesthetic to it as far as this design of packaging goes. It's kind of a shame. This deserves an upgrade, although it really doesn't look bad. I'm just kind of surprised that it's been languishing as long as it has. This might be my new guilty pleasure movie. And I'm ashamed to say that because this is a bad movie. It's stupid on every level. Defies physics. It defies logic. It defies geography. But damn it. Another feature from a recent unboxing video, my 4K of 2012 with John Cusack. Now, anybody have seen this movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. The stupidity of having a father jump into a limousine with his 2 children in Los Angeles and travel to Yellowstone Park in Montana, a 1,000-mile drive, like it's nothing, just to go camping, and then to turn around and drive right back, again, like it's nothing. The events of this particular aspect of the film are supposed to take place over the course of 2 or 3 days. You have a drive from LA to Montana, again, 1,000 miles, no indication of any stop point, just driving straight through. Camping overnight, leaving sometime the next day, we don't know exactly which, but indications are that they arrive back in LA the very following morning. I don't know if it's possible to travel that distance. Maybe I should have done a little Google search on my map and see how long it would take to travel from LA to Yellowstone Park. I might just do that, and I might little text something or other here, something I want to be able to find as far as the travel time goes. But next up, we have essentially a scene that, hey, we're going to take these same people and then some. We're going to jump on a plane as the world is crumbling and falling apart, and a pilot just happens to be sitting at that plane waiting for this family to show up as everything's falling apart, to his detriment and to his death, where any sane person would have been like, okay, screw this, I'm not waiting any longer, I'm taking off. He doesn't do that. So he just leaves a perfectly serviceable airplane sitting there on a falling apart runway. They jump in this plane, they take off, and fly on back to Montana. Hey, it's great. There are, I think, 3 scenes in this film of an airplane of some sort, this being the first one. Later on, we see a larger one taking off from a location in which, let's just say, put it mildly, chaos is ensuing. The world is crumbling around them. All 3 times they take off, they're doing so at an excessively low speed. Too low to safely take off. So what happens every single time they take off? They run into a precipice and immediately dive down. And as they dive down, there's stuff falling all over the place, and they've got to recover. They've got to speed up to be able to get up above it all. Once, okay, cool. In this scene, this is the first time it happens. Okay, that's really over the top to begin with. But you want to do it for once, fine. For the spectacle, okay, fine. You don't do it twice. Then you don't do it a 3rd time. But they do. And that's just the first half of the movie. You have this other scene where this huge ocean liner leaves San Francisco. And over the course of what seems like it might be 2 days tops, it's revealed now that ship is in the Sea of Japan. These ships don't travel at a high rate of speed, people. They just don't. That ship is later toppled by a tsunami. If the Poseidon Adventure has taught these people anything, I would think that they'd have some kind of early warning system. In fact, I've heard that they actually do have like a buoy system or something in the Pacific, maybe even around the world, that monitors this sort of ocean activity. You'd think that there'd be some kind of warning system to allow the boat to be informed that there's a large wave on its way, giving it time to maneuver into the wave. Well, instead, we sit here, wave comes, topples over, hits it from the side, completely unawares. These are little things, yes, they bother me, but there's too many little things. Roland Emmerich, by no stretch of the imagination is he a great filmmaker, but he does make large, fun, spectacle action films, largely having to do with wide-scale destruction and the potential end of the human race. I'd say Independence Day Resurgence is the only thing that comes below this. I've ranted enough. There it is, guilty pleasure film. I think that's the 3rd time I've seen it. The first time, I thought I'd never see it again. And here I am, now I own it. Next, we have a treat. Frank Capra box set. I featured that not too long ago. Got that on pre-order. It just came in. I did an unboxing for you all here and explained during my unboxing that I would pick one of the films out of that 20 film collection, watch one a week to feature on this show. So I started. I did discover after the fact that these things, they didn't lay them out in chronological order like I would have wanted. So it turns out I watched the 2nd film chronologically in that box set. And it turned out to be the very first silent film I have ever watched. And that film, ladies and gentlemen, is So This Is Love from 1928, starring the very lovely Shirley Mason here. I have no experience with her prior to this film. She is amazing. I have never seen an actress emote so much without words. She has the most expressive eyes of any woman I've ever seen. To my knowledge, she didn't make it out of the silent era. I don't necessarily know why. But she stars in this basic love triangle film. A lot of hilarity ensues, a lot of random craziness. It's an underdog story. It's a touching tale. Ends on something of a kind of vague, and that's okay. It's only 55 minutes long. From what I can tell, That was pretty common for the silent era, at least in the titles that are here. I went through and looked at the runtime for the first few, and they are all approximately an hour long. The transfer on this looks great. It's 1928. This is a 96-year-old film, people. 96 years old. Officially the oldest film I've ever seen, first silent film I've ever seen. It looks beautiful. It's got the appropriate grain and everything else. But this looks amazing. It was touching. It was funny. If you're at all curious about silent films, if you're Frank Capra fans, or you're just trying to interested in checking out something new, if you have access to this one, give it a shot, because this is just a really great time, and I'm happy to have gone in for a blind buy on something, and so far I've already hit a winner. So especially considering the size and price, I just think $140 some odd I paid for that set. So far so good. It's working out well. As a whole, that's pretty much it. Still working on season 9 of Friends. I think I'm close to finishing that. Plugging away season 7 of The Simpsons. Testing out those used discs I got. And still falling asleep every night to Star Trek Enterprise. The last 2 nights, I've managed to get in bed, turn the TV and the player on, and set the sleep timer, and promptly fall asleep without watching a single moment of television. If that tells you anything about the state of my progress, that should be all you need to know. So that's that for the week. What's for the store for the future? That, my friends, is Mount Black Friday. It's big. There's still stuff coming. I don't know how much. I don't necessarily know when all of it will get here. There's still other orders to be placed. Cyber Monday. I've got to pull a trigger on some Amazon stuff, some Groove sales that are expiring tomorrow or today. And Kino Lorber is having another Winter Wonderland sale. Fortunately, that one runs through mid-month, so I'm not in high urgency to pull the trigger and place that order. And I'm still whittling through my titles. I mean, I went through that, and by the time I was done, I think I had something like 41 total titles on my cart. It's alive. The sugar stirs, people. 41 titles, like $545 worth of movies. I think so far I've gotten it whittled down to 36. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a problem. Send help, please. I beg you. I may try to split an order in half. Yesterday was payday. Next payday's in 2 weeks, and I think it's if I have to check my dates again, but I think it runs until December 16th, which will be the day after payday, so I might squeeze in one last order if I can prioritize splitting, whittle it down a little bit, then split what's left of that in half. Maybe I can do 2 orders and not completely kill myself, because there's a couple things I still want to pick up from Amazon, and my Groove order will probably be running in the neighborhood of $100 itself. I think I've got it up to like $180, but I think I'm going to whittle that one down because some of the products I have currently in my cart are not on sale, so I can yank those, take advantage of the time-sensitive pricing that I need to, and then save the rest for next time. So, yeah. I don't know if I want to film all this in once and then break it up into multiple segments. It's just going to be way too long to go through one shot, no matter what. Film it all at once, break it up in multiple segments, or film it several times over the course of the next week or two as the rest of it trickles in. I'll figure something out. We'll see. So, enough boring you for this one. For as little as I had to share, we're running way late on this one. So I'm going to kill that now. I thank you all for joining me on this week's episode of SumDumWatch, episode 9. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.